Hi, my name is Ray Eves and this is the 19th video for this series. Alayha Tish'a Ashara, and over it is 19. This video is in two sections, part 1 and part 2, and is entitled The Ancient Egyptian Mandjet and the Harvest. The Torah took the concept of the Mandjet, the solar boat of Re, which is really a craft, not a boat, and copied it into Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, where it mentions God, Elohim, hovering over the surface of the waters in the crafts. In the morning rising, the craft of Re takes on the name Mandjet, which is the craft that crosses the sky, coming from the Duat, the underworld, rising in the east, and is used by the principle of Re called Atumre, the morning sun. This boat or bark allows Re the freedom of the heaven. In the evening setting, it takes the name MESEKET, which is the boat descending from the sky towards the underworld. This principle of its setting in the west was used in the principle of Re called Amun-Re, the setting sun. Osiris, Asaru, Azre also employed a bark on his nightly journey or voyages to the Duat, the underworld. The bark of Asaru was called the Neshmet. The Mandjet is also used in the high point of the day called noon, and is the principle of Re called Atunre, the high noon sun. They are all the same craft in different phases. Re appeared in the east above Minu, the mountain of sunrise, and traversed the sky in the Mandet boat. The crew of the Mandjet or Nibiru craft was made up of 144,000 gods of creation and wisdom, having mystical powers. Horus, or Haru, stood at the helm, the back of the boat, while Djibouti, or Thoth, was positioned at the bow, the front of the boat. When they refer to the Mandet, MESEKET, or Mandjet as the boat of Re, it is not really a boat that journeyed through the water, for the Egyptian word for boat is Uwa. This was really a craft that traversed or hovered in the sky, or as the Bible terms it in Genesis 1:2, moved upon the surface of the waters, like Nibiru, which means planet of the crossing, or planet that crosses the sky, from the root word Nabara, meaning to raise or elevate. And Nibiru in the Sumerian cuneiform word, or is the Sumerian cuneiform word for the Egyptian Mandjet. The great planet ship Nibiru, also called the Mother Plane, the Crystal City, and the Kingdom, has within it many motherships and cylinder crafts, some up to 30 feet long, and shams and saucer crafts. Qi, the planet Earth, was the first site set for the purpose of mining such minerals as uranium, plutonium, chlorophyll, platinum, gold, diamond, silver, as well as to scan the ocean floors for chlorine and for other elements that were beneficial to these beings in the other planets. In the depths of the ocean of this planet Earth are some of the most valuable resources for human life, such as food, such as kelp, different types of fish, and energy sources such as iodine. Several mineral resources lie on the ocean floor and in solution above it, such as salt, magnesium, and bromine. Other beings from other galaxies know of these resources, and thus they have made many visits here, taking what they excavated back to their homes, and they continue to visit this planet and even live under the seas. Earth is on the ancient space trade route. Extraterrestrials come here to bases and cavern city complexes, and they mine, manufacture, and do genetic manipulation to form various subservient crossbreeds. Earth was also used as a hunting ground and resort. Beings would intergalactically travel from planet to planet doing what was called planetary shopping. They would travel the universe in ships that were smaller than Nibiru, some 60 feet across, some 30 feet across, some even 10 feet across, that were equipped for space traveling, generally carrying a crew of an archaeologist, an ecologist, a defense crew in case of an emergency, a doctor, and a pilot. They were seeking out flat plain areas and avoiding cities and Earth people. Once the areas were mapped out to where they would find or get resources, they called them moles. For 300 years, a conflict has been going on between the Greys, who are basically warlike and aggressive, and the higher factions of the infrastructure, who are the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are a supreme race of beings from Ilion. They are dark, reddish-brown in skin complexion, with slanted eyes that opens and closes just like ours. Their eyes, though, are much larger than that of humans. The average Nubians are starting to be born looking like these Elohim Anunnaki. They also have kinky or woolly hair. Both groups, the Anunnaki and the Reptilians, are using and crossbreeding with humans. The Anunnaki are from the 8th planet Rizq of the 19th galaxy called Ilion, originally referred to as heaven, known as Elysium in Greek. They have conducted experiments on Earth that have involved both artificial insemination and interbreeding with animal beings called humans. They created a genetic underspecies, human, to do mining and other works. A large portion of present-day humanity is descended from mixed gene ancestry. The Anunnaki, who were agreeable, being the sheep race, and the reptilians, who are disagreeable, being the dog race, have both continued to crossbreed with humans. They need humans and conspire together to keep humans ignorant and under control. Humans must recognize the control web and go beyond it. There is a species of Rizqians that did the genetic development of humans, called humans, and initially controlled the initial interbreeding with primitive humans 2,250,000 years ago. Thus, the sudden emergence from Cro-Magnon human to Homo erectus to Homo sapiens. These beings were responsible for the progression of man. By them breeding Homo erectus, man's rate of evolution increased, a process which took 600 years, 100 years for preparation and gathering of species for breeding, 400 years for the process, and 100 years following that for educating and civilizing the newly fashioned being. The Anunnaki were trying to build a worker who was more aggressive and more violent to help mine the gold mines. So they mixed their divine seed with the Homo erectus, whom was mixed with the shaggy beings from the Sirius in the Orion star constellation. From there they bred an overseer and worker called Homo sapien, who is the Nubian race with 9 ether hair, unlike any other animal on planet Earth. So the Riskians, also known as supernatural beings, superior beings, the supreme beings, their basic purpose is the law of one, Anu, who is also known as An or En, meaning heavenly one, later called Om. So, it is right to live in service to others, that is, the Anunnaki, or the High Ones. A whole star fleet came to Earth in ether form, and the body of the person utilized was Dr. Malachi Z. York. Yanun, or Dr. Malachi Z. York, was not chosen. Yanun was bred for us. He came from a star fleet of people that are scientists, storages, or loggers of information. They are the ones that keep the Akasha records. They keep the logs of everything that takes place in all the universe. They are what you would refer to as accountants. They are allowed to go from galaxy to galaxy. However, the time they reside in galaxies change. Us humans reside in a galaxy for 90 years. On the planet Yanun comes from, they live to be trillions of years old. Then there, the beings are raised up to the level of Ethereal beings, or beings of light energy. When they are in a physical state, they live to be 120 years old. So, to stay here on Earth for 20 years is like staying for 1 day to them. They stay, and then they move on to another galaxy. Yanun, his sole purpose for incarnating on this planet is to save the descendants of the Nibiru from being killed as the planet nears total destruction. But first, these children of the Nibiru have to be aligned through the activation of certain DNA within each individual. The Nibiru are only here for their children, the children of the Nibiru, because every creature is born with the birthright to communicate interdimensionally with different beings. However, there are disagreeable beings that are trying to block you, the Nubian, from advancing. So you will not be able to communicate with other beings and make that link with your etheric parents who are waiting to reconnect, but you have to elevate to a certain level first. We must, or we need to go to the next level of information in order to be seen by our etheric parents when they come for us. They do not have physical eyes, so they will be looking for our light, our aura. If it is not bright enough, or we haven't become strong enough spiritually, they will not see us even though we may be standing right in front of them. For humans have a light body, a physical body, a spiritual body, a mental body, and an etheric body. Thus ends part 1 of this video. See you at video number 2.